Hey, what's up, black people? What's going on? I am hanging out tonight and doing some work, so I thought I would do an Ask Me Anything, or what they call an AMA, where we can hang out and talk a little bit while I work through some of the stuff that's in front of me. So, literally, you can ask me any question you may have, and I will give you an honest answer. You can ask the question on any topic, and I'll be happy to answer the question. So, put your question in here. And first of all, I'd like to ask everybody, how you doing, and whether or not you can hear me. I hope you can hear me okay. As you come in, I'm trying out this new microphone, so it would help me a lot if you could let me know if you can hear me okay, because I. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. So give me a yes. Hey, Tommy Middleton, how are you? Let me know you can hear me. So that way, my deep concern that I'm talking to myself will go away. Love the t-shirt. You can hear me fine. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Well, the shirt is actually we got these shirts at wokeblacktees.com. So feel free to go to wokeblacktees.com if you'd like to get a shirt like that. You have to be a smart ass like me. Because I y'all know me, y'all know my position. I'm not voting for anybody that's not doing right by the people I care about. You're not getting my vote for free. You got to pay for that, and pay for it with reparations or at least some meaningful programs that are going to improve the community. Not telling everybody else what to do, but that's not how I operate. And um, so anyway, I hope you all are doing well today. And you can hear me in Ohio. How do I feel about Shiba Inu? I'm not a big fan of Shiba Inu, and I can tell you, be real careful about some of those garbage coins. Yeah, Shiba Inu. I'm sorry, I hate to hurt your feelings, but Shiba Inu is a garbage coin, and so yeah, I wouldn't recommend putting a lot of money into Shiba Inu. To be honest with you, why not talk about central bank digital currencies, new digital economy emerging using tokenization? We're going to talk about a lot of that at the All Black National Convention. Actually, we're bringing together some of the world's leading crypto experts to our convention, which is going to happen October 29th through November 1st in Orlando. Shout out to everybody who is coming to the convention, who is in the audience. Bring your family. It's meant to be a family friendly event. We have a whole curriculum for children. You can bring your church group, you can bring your investment club, you can bring your baby mama, bring all of that, and we got a space for everybody. And we're going to cover everything from everything from crypto to relationships to politics to stock market investing to pretty much everything. We're even going to have a ball and an award show. I'm not a guy who complains when white people don't give us awards because I don't believe there's anything magical about white people's opinions. I'm the guy who says, why don't we create an award show and we can create awards just like white people did? I don't think there's anything magical about white people. So stop looking for validation from other people. What you do is you validate yourself. So we're gonna give a lifetime achievement award. We're gonna give a Black Excellence Award. We're gonna give an award for something related to Black economics, of course, something related to education, Man of the Year, Woman of the Year, things like that. All right, so let me see here. Shiba Inu's all right with me. How do you reconcile with someone who for 7 years did everything to see that you end up in a place of struggle, baby mama? Oh, therapy. I think all Black people need therapy, so I would encourage you to consider that as a way to improve your situation. Therapists are magical. They can really help you. We're going to have a lot of therapists at the convention, actually. Let's see. Dr. Watkins think the Willie Lynch syndrome is in full effect with this modern day medical genocide in the Black community. Yeah, it is. That's all there is to say there. Love the shirt. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'll put the URL for the shirt if you want to go get one. It's right there. There you go. Sure. Oh, sorry. Have any theories as to why Facebook, IG, and WhatsApp were truly down? I think they got hacked. I think that they're under attack right now because I think there are people who rightfully feel that Facebook is not good for the world. And I have mixed feelings because if it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't be talking to a lot of you right now. I have a lot of friends on Facebook, literally hundreds of thousands of Facebook friends, and I appreciate all of them. So I'm not one to just crap all over Facebook without acknowledging the good things they've done. The downside, though, is I wish Facebook wasn't so capitalist all the time. That's the thing that irks me is that they're always thinking about the money, and sometimes they end up doing things that are clearly unethical because of the money. And so I think we're just now learning how harmful social media is for society. Social media is addictive, and they know this. So they go out of their way to get you addicted to social media by literally training you like Pavlov's dog. Pavlov's dog, they used to, there's a whole story about Pavlov's dog where he trained his dog to salivate by ringing a bell. And they train, you can train human beings the same way. So to some extent, they've used that the power of that addiction to make a lot of money. I remember the people who always had the most money in the hood were the dope dealers, who sold crack. Was it because they were great salesmen? No, it wasn't because they were great salesmen who how to run great businesses. It's because crack was addictive, and your customers were stuck. Your customers couldn't imagine a life without your product. So Facebook is the same way. A lot of y'all are probably tweaking and fiending and going crazy when Facebook went down. You'll probably know what to do with yourselves, and it's okay. But you got to break the social media addiction. So give yourself a social media holiday, maybe about once every couple of weeks. That's my 2 cents. Let's see. What's it going to take to decolonize the minds of Black people that want to decolonize? I think it's possible. You just have to want to, and you have to accept the fact that not everybody wants to. So I don't really talk to everybody. I'm not really here to try to save the whole Black community. I think that's a big job. I'm not strong enough to do it. What I'm here to do is to talk to the people that want to improve, the people who are sick of the bullshit, the people who can see what I see. For those who can't see what I see, they may never see it, and it's their right not to see it. But and I understand that because we have a long history of doing a lot of things that don't work. Like we have a long history of trying things that are not effective. So there are plenty of people who are addicted to that history of just sitting around, shuck and jive and eating cornbread and fried chicken and, having Martin Luther King dinners every year and believing that we made progress because more white people have given us jobs, and I'm not in that category. I'm just a guy who says, no, I don't think that all the jobs and the fried chicken is really what progress actually looks like. I think it looks a little bit different. So that's kind of where I am. So I'm not here to, tell anybody what to do. I'm just here to speak my truth. How can I obtain business funding grants? Side notes, I would love to draw a portrait for you and your wife. Oh, thank you, Lovature. Well, we'll be at the convention. So if you come to the All Black National Convention, I can give you a picture or something you can use. Or if you want to bring it, you can hand it to me in person. Feel free to do that. Um, in terms of funding and grants and stuff like that, um, well, we do have a guy who's in the Black Business School who's done $1 billion in government contracts, and he's Walter Cotton. Walter Cotton, and he's on our faculty. We have Walter Cotton who's done, I want to say $1 billion. Maybe it's a few hundred million. A billion sounds like big numbers, but I think it might be a billion in government contracts. And he's doing a class soon. You can go sign up at theblackbusinessschool.com and just take a look at what we have going on. It's the best university on earth for educating Black people about wealth, Black wealth and economics. Like we're number one because we focus solely on Black people. We're not trying to appeal to rappers or white people or anybody else. We literally focus on those hidden gems in the community of people that have done amazing things, mostly from a bootstrap perspective. Also, we have another brother named Herb Strather, who's done $2 billion worth of commercial real estate deals. And Herb Strather right now is teaching a commercial real estate masterclass. I think it's closed, but he's in there. Julian Gordon is one of our resident real estate experts. He's our dean of real estate. Julian is right now proceeding with a group to buy a big chunk of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, like millions of dollars. Another person that's interesting is Amari Head and Devon. I don't have Devon's last name, but Devon and Amari have done about, I want to say $4 billion worth of hotel deals. Like they've literally done $4 billion worth of hotel deals and contracts. At least that's what the number the program director quoted to me. So these are just the Black people that you're not going to hear about because they haven't made a rap song and they don't play in the NBA. But you got some really bad, amazing Black people in your community. So go to theblackbusinessschool.com and you can check it out. I mean, we're serious about what we do. My PhD is very real. You can look it up on the internet. I'm not going to hide. If you ask me, do you do a gotcha moment and say, gotcha, his PhD ain't real? I think somebody did that. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, bro, you can read my PhD. on the internet, like, or read my dissertation on the internet. Like, it's out there. You can see my whole dissertation committee and everything. So I think that the fact that we live in a community where people just don't even believe you if you're black and you say my PhD is real, that's very weird to me. That's very weird because white people have lots of PhDs, you know. So why is it that when a black man says, you know, when he speaks, you know, the kind of truth I speak, I know I'm a little radical. I know I don't have a lot of tolerance for BS when it comes to racism. But why is it that there are people who somehow think that because I'm a black male that I must be making these things up? No, I was in school till I was 31 years old. Like, it took a long time to get my PhD. It was really hard. You know, my wife's PhD is very real, you know, and all that stuff. So stop questioning your own people so much. Damn, like, you don't question white people like that. Like, white person come in, they sell you anything, you know, you'll buy it. You're like, yes, sir, thank you, sir, I appreciate it. It's such a high quality product. A black person sell you something like that Negro. He think he better than everybody. You know his stuff is real. That's all fake. That ain't real. He don't really got no car. He ain't really driving that car. He borrowed that car. But anyway, give me a second, guys. I'm actually doing something. So I'll answer more of your questions in 1 second. But yeah. So at the convention, the reason I hope you'll join us is because, like, we're really solving real problems and truly doing things that I think are beneficial, you know, for our people. And I really think that um, you know, that the convention's unique because we're truly free and independent. That's one of the big things, right? Like, there's no, you know, like if you go to some of the other conventions, unfortunately, you'll have, like, you know, Black Power brought to you by McDonald's, you know, or the Negro Showdown brought to you by Walmart. And we don't do that. We don't allow any of those corporations to sponsor what we're doing. And that's where my finance background comes into play because I learned a long time ago that he who has the gold makes the rules, and the person that pays the bills has the power. So, you know, as much as you know, you hear us talking about, you know, I want black power, let's get some black power. Well, you can't get black power if you're begging for money from white people. Like, it's not, I mean, you can't, you're not powerful. You're like, you know, it's like, it's like if you're like an electric lamp and you're plugged and you have to be plugged into the wall in order for your light to shine, then you can't walk around, you know, the lamp can't walk around and say, look at all this power I have. Look at how powerful I am. You're not powerful. The wall is powerful. You just, you just like are connected to the wall. So you think that, you know, so what you think is actual authentic power is really, you know, the illusion of power, the proximity to power. You're just connected to power. You don't actually have real power. And I think that this is a complex idea for many of our people because we're never used to that. We're not used to seeing a black person have real authentic power. Like, for years, I've had to deal with this weird rumor, you know, not that I care, but this rumor that an Asian man is secretly running my whole organization. I've been accused of having my whole organization being run by an Asian man and by a Jewish man. And never once did any of these people consider the idea that these people that did come in that worked with me that might not have been black on various occasions, they worked for me. Like, I was the boss. Like I was always the owner. Like, I was never, you know, if I say black owned, why would I say my business is black owned if it's not black owned? You know, so yeah, I mean, have I worked with people who are not black? Sometimes I do. But, you know, I've hired tons of black people. I probably paid probably $5 million to various black people, including some people who, you know, to this day don't like me very much, like Yvette Carnell or whatever. But I got receipts. Like, I given Yvette tons of money. I built her platform basically. Um, and the thing about it is that it really is reflective of the restricted paradigm under which we think when we look at a black man who has the appearance of independent power, and we cannot imagine a world where that black man isn't having his purse strings pulled by a white person because we are so used to believing that if you're not plugged into white people, then you'll never go anywhere, you know. And or they would say to me things like, you know, hey, you know, your platform's really good. One day you'll be mainstream. And I'm like, I'm already mainstream. They're like, no, you're not. Well, why am I not mainstream? Well, because white people haven't acknowledged me yet. Like, that makes you think that somehow my work is less valid or my intellect is less relevant or meaningful because I'm not being acknowledged by CNN or whatever. No, I mean, I've been acknowledged by those things, but even if I never had that, you know, that doesn't on any in my world add or take away from anything that I've been able to do, right? So I personally think the thing that makes me very proud about the All Black National Convention is that, this is really ours. Like, we really are calling the shots all the way across the board. We're really the ones who are doing this whole thing, on our own. And we're funding this. We're deciding the agenda. We're putting together the whole curriculum. We're educating our children. We've solved the black wealth problem. The black wealth problem is not hard to solve. Like, it's the racial wealth gap is very easy to solve, actually. The hard part to solve, the part that is difficult to solve, is the effects of black brainwashing. The fact that you have black people who are so committed to white supremacy that they can't let go of pre-existing habits, right? It's like, think about it like losing weight. Like a person that is trying to lose weight, a lot of times it's really like a matter of like, like basically saying, okay, take your fat ass to the gym and put down those goddamn biscuits, right? Stop eating, chocolate chip cookies at every available turn, and maybe you'll lose weight, you know. And ultimately, what's interesting is that, you have people that take something that's simple and they make it complex. Like, they say, oh God, I've tried this fancy diet and this fancy diet, and I'm reading all the calories and doing this and this. And it's like, no, if you, I don't care how obese you are. Here's the deal. If you eat fruits and vegetables and you don't take in any sugar, and you walk or run 1 to 2 miles a day or every couple of days, there's no way you can be obese. Like, there's absolutely no way you can still be obese if you are covering 1 to 2 miles a day on foot. Like, there's no way, it's not possible. And you're not eating like crazy. You can't be, morbidly obese anymore, right? So the solution is usually very simple. What makes it complex is you. What makes it complex is what's inside your head. What makes it complex is that you are typically the greatest obstacle to anything that you want to get to. Typically, the difference between you and the heaven that you seek is that you have to be willing to go through some hell in order to get there. You have to go through a little bit of discomfort and walk through the fire a little bit, let go of some bad habits in some unhealthy, toxic relationships. Sometimes it might be a relationship with a person where the sex is really good. Sometimes it might be a relationship with some ice cream and cookies in your refrigerator. Sometimes it might be your relationship with the corporate plantation. Sometimes it might be your relationship with low self-esteem. But at some point, you have to go through that discomfort of breaking that addiction that you have. And I truly believe that Black people, some of us, not all of us, some of us are really truly addicted to white people. Like, as much as we claim to hate them, in a way, it reminds me, it's like the relationship with Facebook. We all say we hate Facebook, but we're on Facebook every day. So how can you hate Facebook if you're on Facebook all the time, right? You see what I mean? Well, the reason that you hate it and you're on it all the time is because sometimes you actually hate the fact that you love it so much. But you love Facebook. Facebook is your digital pimp. That's why they slap you around like a little bitch, put you on Facebook jail, mistreat you, destroy your business, and do whatever they want to do. But you keep coming back. As soon as they let you out of Facebook jail, you're right back on Facebook. If I tried to host a boycott of Facebook and said, everybody, hey, y'all, let's all get off Facebook. Ain't nobody coming. Ain't nobody really coming for real. There'll be a few of y'all, right? Some of y'all really are ride or die like that. But most people, no, they'd be like, no, I got too many friends on Facebook, right? So to some extent, a lot of times, and people don't recognize these things because we don't live in a society that has a lot of accountability. But because of that lack of accountability, we don't realize that in many cases, the very things that we're fighting against are things that we're actually supporting. And I think that we're addicted to white supremacy in the exact same way. So let me see. So the whistleblower came out last week and they changed the code today. Yeah, that's what I think too. I think that I think that the Facebook going down related to the whistleblower, it was pretty bad, kind of crazy. My 13-year-old is ready. What program do you suggest of yours to start? Crypto and stocks? What book? What apps are mandatory? I would look at Black Millionaires of Tomorrow.com. That is our award-winning program for children. It is extremely good. It will change your child forever. And there is a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee if you are unhappy for any reason whatsoever. We cover the major modules we cover are an introduction to money, an introduction to stocks, an introduction to entrepreneurship, and an introduction to real estate. Our guarantee is that when your child goes through that program, they will have the financial literacy of the average college educated adult. not the average adult, because unfortunately, America is just a country that doesn't have a lot of smart people. Like they dumb down the country somehow. But the average college educated adult, so your child, I don't care if they're 10 years old, they will be able to match a lot of college educated adults when it comes to financial literacy. And they're gonna know a lot more than a lot of grown-ups do. And if you don't feel that way, then we'll just give you a refund. Okay, so feel free to go to blackmillionairestomorrow.com. Let's see here. For all that we deal with here, do you ever consider us as a people investing and moving our resources to Africa as a whole? Yeah, well, that's already happening, right? It's happening in pockets. People are moving, like black people are making moves, major moves. When I was in Atlanta this weekend, I was making my move. I was going down to the Black House. Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Fund, they run the Black House. I'm one of the founding investors in the Tulsa Fund and the Black House and all that. And I met with Jay, and then I also met with D1, who's a great rapper and a great guy. I also had meetings with who else did I meet with? Oh, I ran into brother Ben X in the airport, and Ben X informed me that they are buying a lot of land out in Georgia, and they're not the only ones doing it. There are lots of black people that are buying like literally hundreds of acres of land. What's the boy? The brother King Randall. See, that's the thing. This is why the Nation of Islam is just literally one of the most cherished and amazing commodities in the black community. It's because when people in the NOI tell you they're gonna do something, they don't just talk about it. Like they really will get it done. Like if you say, okay, let's meet and plan the revolution on Tuesday at 9 o'clock, they'll be there Tuesday at 8:55. Like they will really show up, and that's why these are the best builders. Like these are the people that, in my view, are real. Shout out also to the Hebrew Israelite community. They're the same way. My Hebrew Israelite friends, they just, they don't have to be talked into walking away from the white man's nipple. Like they don't have to. You don't have to talk them out of walking away from some Popeye's chicken and a good job down at the post office. No, they walked away from that before it became fashionable, right? So these to me are your black leaders. Your black leaders, pay attention now. Your black leaders in media are the people telling you to walk toward white supremacy. Your real black leaders should be the ones telling you to walk away from white supremacy. Walking away from white supremacy means walking away from all systems that exist that benefit white people over black people. That's all it means. It means white supremacy means that if I work for you, then you're the boss and I'm the worker. That's not beneficial to me. That's harmful to me. So I'm walking away from that. I'm not going to fight the system by trying to get a better position in the system. I'm going to leave the system. Do you follow what I'm saying? Give me a yes or no if you follow what I'm saying. Like this is basic, but it's very complex for some people. Because if you look at it, if you think about it, right? How in the world could you be fighting white supremacy, yet you are constantly walking toward white supremacy? Like, how is it that you're battling white people, but you're constantly seeking their validation? How is it that you are trying to be free and independent, but you literally need them in order for you to survive? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So the people that are truly the black leaders in the community are the people that are leading black people away from white supremacy, that are teaching black people to be free and independent. They are the ones who are growing their own food. They're the ones who are, going and buying farmland and learning how to shoot guns and getting out and starting businesses and homeschooling their kids. Like those are the real leaders and the freedom fighters in the black community. And I would encourage you to look at those individuals as your leaders, as opposed to looking to media. My God, I mean, looking at media from black leadership is probably the craziest thing we've ever done. Because basically what you're doing is it's like you're learning how to play basketball from the worst guy on the team. Like these people that are on TV, these Negroes on TV, they couldn't survive on their own if their life depended on it. They literally would have no ability to survive if it wasn't for the backing of white people. Why in the world would you think that's the person that could teach you how to be free? Seriously, why in the world would you take any advice at all from somebody who is completely dependent on the system of white supremacy in order to survive? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Let's see, B1. Let's see. Tawana says, I believe you and always did. My eldest daughter has a PhD in science. And good for you. Wow, good for you. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Yes, indeed, that toxic talk is real. Yes, it is. Did you get the jab? Says Texas hard hitter. I'm going to go ahead and say Nunya. Nunya is not, I'm not saying that to be rude to you. But Nunya is my official response. When people have asked me uh, what we should say if we're asked if we got the jab, my response is Nunya, because I think it's gotten into the space of becoming a civil liberties issue where, I believe that you have as much right to ask me if I got the jab as I would be to ask you if you got an abortion. And I don't think, I don't know. I don't know if there's a federal law against it or not, but I would feel like it'd be highly inappropriate for me to consider hiring a woman for a job and to say, hey, have you ever gotten any abortions? Or are you pregnant? You got a boyfriend? Whatever, right? So the same way, am I? So she has a right to say Nunya. Well, that whole conversation about my body, my right, that doesn't just apply to women, who are carrying somebody's baby. It also applies to men, who just, who want to say, look, no, it's my body, my right. None of your damn business. And I love how the NBA players have handled that too. I'm really proud of Kyrie Irving and Andrew Wiggins. He held out as long as he could. But I mean, my God, that brother's about to lose $400 million. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a lot of money. So, but he handled it very well. But I doubt most of us walk away from 400 million. Now, if anybody could do it though, it would be Kyrie Irving. So there you go. They forgot for Nerve who taught the world economics, bartering, etc. I agree, Philip. Josh Hayes, do you ever regret starting a financial planning or investing firm? Think you will do well? No, I never regret it. Not once. I am exactly where I need to be. I'm telling you, like anybody who's like young, like under the age of like 40, I really encourage you to take time to really engage in knowledge of self. Like figure out who you are and imagine your life, like play your life out in your head over and over again. What your biggest dreams and goals are, and like the things that you think you might want to do, and really figure out how to really pursue the thing that you love and the things that matter to you. And focus on these three key areas. You focus on health, wealth, and relationships. Like, okay, how do I make sure when I get older, my health is where I want it to be? How do I make sure that my wealth is where I want it to be? And how do I make sure I nurture my relationships in a way that is going to lead me to be able to, to have the life that I want? And so, with that said, it's like I thought about that a lot. Like in my 20s, I didn't waste time. Like I lived my 20s as if I was in my 40s, meaning like I cherished my time. I didn't waste a lot of time. I didn't do a lot of stupid shit because I didn't have a lot to fall back on. My parents were very much into personal responsibility. Like, if you fuck up, that's on you. Like I didn't have parents that would let me go wreck the car 3 times and then keep buying me a new car and all that. I never knew any of that. Right. And so because of that, I just didn't, like most of what I did with my life was stuff that where I look back on it and I don't feel like I wasted my time. Like I feel like I'm exactly where I want to be. Literally, like I married the woman I wanted to marry, and got married about the age that I wanted to get married. I did not want to get married at 25 or even 35. 35, I thought about it because I was engaged. I wanted to get married about 40 or 45. And I got married in my late, I got married, I guess I was 49, but still, about the same time. I proposed about 46 years old. And that's what I wanted. Right. And I wanted what I wanted. I did not feel like I needed anybody's permission to want what I wanted. I made the money that I wanted to make. I have the career that I wanted to have. So I don't have any regrets, and I don't know I don't know how normal that is. But I think that the difference, if there is a difference, it's like how much time do you spend truly reflecting on who you are, what you want? Because here's the other thing too. I really think it's like the ultimate curse, to get older where you can't go back and you can't change anything and you're stuck with this life that you really didn't want and you don't have that ability to you know to go back and fix it. Like the opportunities you had are gone, and that's a terrible feeling. Like that's like the prison from hell. Like you literally feel like you're in a prison of time because now you can't go back. No matter how much you want, no matter how sad you are, you can't go back and change it. You can't go back and fix it. So, before that happens, like make those right decisions, man. And it's gotta be your choice. It can't be anybody else's decision. Don't let other people live your life. Like don't let other people say, oh, well, you need to take that job or you need to go be a dentist. I'm like, fuck you, you go be a dentist. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna dedicate the next 30 years of my life doing something because you said I should do it. So, but it requires knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is how you know what you want out of your life. So, Do you think you and Umar will ever be in a better space to work together? I doubt it because we're not the same dude. You know, me and Umar are very different, and Umar, I guess he still has issues with me for various reasons, and not to say I blame him one way or the other, but we're just different, you know, and I kind of feel like it gets to the point where if I started trying to do stuff with Umar, I feel like the people that back me would probably like be confused by that. They would probably feel like, why are you working with this guy? Because I feel like he shot himself in the foot so many times. I mean, I think he's brilliant. He's a great speaker and he's a smart man. But some of those antics, you know, like that's just not something I can really connect to, you know, King Kong consciousness and all that stuff. Like that's just not my style. I don't believe in any of that. So it would be fake for me to even act like I think that that shit is normal because I don't. I really don't. You know. But no disrespect. It is what it is. You know. Let me see. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, hold on. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic situation, which forced us all into the self-sell, we can actually earn from home. Okay, I've actually earned. Okay, all right, Princess Alexis, you're gonna get blocked. Hi, Uncle Boy. Hey, sexy Slim, the goddess. Goddess, how are you? Where can I buy a couple of those shirts? Oh, you can actually go to wokeblacktees.com. I'll show you the URL. Let me put it up here so you can see it. Yeah, and we got the B1 shirts in also, actually. I'll show you those actually. Let me show you. So if you're B1, these are the B1 shirts, and I'm super freaking proud of that. And so if you are coming to the convention also, wear your B1 shirt, or there will also be B1 shirts available at the convention. So you can go to wolfblacktees.com and pick it up, or you can come to the convention and get it at the convention. So there you go. You know, ask for it. It's here. Now I hope you'll support it and get you a B1 shirt and rep what you believe in. And I think B1, I think the B1 philosophy is so important. And I didn't invent the term B1, by the way. I've heard other people use it, so I want to make sure that's clear. But it's like, you know, I love that idea of kind of putting ourselves at the top of the priority list. I just really embrace that. Like I think if there was anything that really defined the essence of what I believe, it would be this idea that we got to stop saving everybody else and save ourselves. Like I really, and I repeat it a lot because it's, you know, sometimes you get in that habit of literally serving massa so much that you know, you forget about what your needs are, you know, and I don't enjoy hearing about black people, you know, like we'll literally talk about like how somebody made black history because they saved white people in some way or they did something that you know for white people or they'll do those little skits and during black history month where they'll say here are all the inventions that wouldn't exist without black people. So and so there's like this constant effort within the black community for us to prove our worthiness to white people. Like, hey, if you just knew how worthy we are, if you just knew how much we've done for you, then you would appreciate us better. You know, it's like, no, like they may not appreciate you at all. And it's kind of crazy that you're sitting around waiting on these people to love you. Like they ain't gonna love you. You know, like they're not and it's not their job to love you. It's really your job to love yourself. And I think that we don't understand that. So B1 just means that all the resources, the intellectual resources, the financial resources, the resources in terms of labor and energy needs to go toward building the black community, like black first, period. China had the same thing. China had probably something that you would call C1. They were China first, period. So they actually would measure the quality of citizen you were. Like are when you say are you or are you not a good Chinese citizen, they would base it on whether or not you were B1, except Chinese, of course, C1. Like they would say, okay, are you giving back to China? Are you helping build China? Are you bringing your intellect to China? Or are you part of the brain drain where China was produced for a long time? China was doing what black people are doing. They were producing the greatest scientists in the world and the greatest workers in the world. And all those workers and all those scientists were going across the world working for other people. Like that was literally what China did for a long time. And the Chinese leaders, God bless them, said, no, this is not good for our country. We cannot win if we keep taking our best and giving it to other people. So black people, you know, well, when Anita Baker said, giving them the best that I got, like you give other people the best that you got. Like your best and brightest have been trained to believe that once they reach a certain level, you ain't got to be around black people no more. Like your goal should be to get out of the hood. Your goal should be to not work around black people. You go live in a certain neighborhood, you brag about it, you go work, you get some fancy job working for a corporation. That's a come up for you. And I'm here to just basically say like that, all that is BS. Like all that needs to go out the window in exchange for a philosophy where we put ourselves at the top of the priority list, period. You know. So that's my 2 cents. But anyway, guys, let me look at another question. Hey Doc, did you see my regarding the Bruce family scroll up? Sorry, Cecilia. If I miss your question, just repeat it. Because I can't find. There's too many questions in here. I'm sorry about that. Let's see, DJ3 the Beast, because people like Rolando Martina lie claiming they hire black employees and really they don't. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I got a whole black team. You come to the convention, you're gonna see everybody. You're gonna see my black event planner. My team members got team members. My event planner has a staff of 4. And also I think we got a small staff at the Black Business School, about 9 people. We got program directors, we have customer service reps that work with the customers to make sure they're 100% happy all the time. We have people that plan our events, people that run our e-commerce, people that help with the content creation and production, all that stuff. So we have a nice sized team. It's not exhaustively large, but it's effective, right? So we had to go through a process of finding the right size of team, because at first we had a team that was too small, then our team got too big, then we got it just right, and that's where we are right now. Let's see here, Doc. You have good info, but why is it all about the wife? You sound soft. Oh, you think Ian? You think I'm sounding soft because I talk about my wife? Well, I'm gonna tell you, I learned Ian from my father. My father's a man's man. Like my father is not. He doesn't pretend to be a real man. He really is a real man. He really is a great man. My father's actually killed people, because he had to. He was a Vietnam veteran. He overcame a heroin addiction. He walked away from heroin just to be my dad, and I wasn't even his biological son. That's the kind of man he was. So, when I watched my father, what was interesting about my father was he was kind of what you might call a thug or a gangster. Like he definitely fit into all of that, right? Everything that you think a thug would do, and a gangster and all that. That was my dad. But my father was also gangster about his love for my mother. My father was also gangster about protecting his family. My father was also gangster about getting what was his and doing what he had to do. And so I learned from watching my father that the most gangster thing I can do as a black man is to show deep and unrelenting love for a black woman. Like that, loving that black woman and saying, I am so proud to be married to a black woman. And I think she's awesome and amazing. I tell her that she's beautiful literally 5 times a day, every day. That to me is something I'm extremely proud of. And there's no amount of people on the internet or anywhere else who can really talk me out of that. Like I just, and I see it. And when I see guys that kind of think that somehow is a bad thing or that it's soft, I really feel sorry for those men, because I guarantee you that most of those men never had a man raise them who knew how to have a healthy relationship with a woman and didn't understand that loving the women in your life does not in any way make you soft. It makes you relevant to their lives. Like the job of a man is to protect women and children, you know? And so if you are selfish and you say, fuck these hoes, fuck these kids, I don't care about these people. I don't know what your purpose is. So, but again, that's my preference. That's my bias. I'm definitely biased. I'm not like everybody else in that regard, but I'm biased in that I felt that as a human being, I had a purpose, and not just the purpose that I show you guys in terms of what I do every day. I mean, if you don't believe I'm doing this for purpose, then you haven't obviously been watching me do these 18,000 videos, of literally 18,000 videos over the last decade, right? And articles and everything else. But the other thing too is, my purpose is also to be there for the people I love. It's to be a good son, have my parents back. It's to be a good father and have the backs of my children. It's to be a good husband and have the back of my wife. Like those are my purposes. And without that purpose, I don't know. What do? You sit around and smoke weed and play Xbox all day? Like I don't know what else, So that's just my 2 cents, man. I'm not judging. I'm not telling nobody else, And remember too, the other thing is I'm not into telling other people how to live their life. So just because I got married doesn't mean I'm telling you to run off and get married. And remember, I mean, I took care of me too, right? Like I took a long time to get married. I didn't get married at 25 or even 35. I got married at 46 years old or 47, 46 is when I proposed. So I got a chance to live the single life and be free. And I mean, I was a single black man who's 38 years old with worldwide fame, a pocket full of money, and a lot of power. You have no shortage of women when you're in that position. Like there, I had good credit. So there's no shortage of women. So a lot of the things that guys, I think, it want to have, I've had those things offered to me. And the other thing I've learned is that when you talk about having balance in your soul, is that a man must, if he's really trying to accomplish something, you have to have at some point some degree of sexual discipline. And if you look at why a lot of men go down, a lot of these popular famous men, they go down because of sex, because they get so much pussy thrown at them that they don't know what to do with it. It's the first time maybe you were like the fat guy and you never had a girlfriend in school, and so now suddenly all the girls like you, and next thing you know, you done got caught up, you done got accused of rape, you done got somebody pregnant, you got caught cheating on your wife, just all kinds of stuff. The rumors have spread and it's ruined your reputation. You got to answer a lot of tough questions. So really, I would just suggest to any young person, like whatever it is you're trying to do, like you have to have some degree of discipline. Like you have to have some ability to know when something is good for you, and don't just do it because other people tell you to do it, and don't just do it. Don't just take it because it's there. Like sex, from a woman, it's not something I've always thought it was crazy that men would be like, oh, she was pretty and you didn't hit that. She offered that to you, you didn't hit that. And I remember I would be like, no, because she might have a disease, and I don't want to have kids with a stripper. But guys aren't trained to think that way. They're not trained to be critical thinkers. They're just like, oh yeah, she's pretty. I'm gonna go and put my penis in her and put my life on the line because I don't know. I never understood that. That wasn't how I think. But then again, maybe everybody ain't the same. I don't know. Um, let's see here. Don't let the algorithm catch that. You'll go to Facebook jail. Let's see. That would be great, but our people are so contentious, says Terrence. I agree. But, there are a lot of good people out here, too. Akeem Smith says, Dr. Boyce, that was a very irresponsible statement he made to not to listen to Dr. Fauci. No, I think that it's ridiculous that anybody who disagrees with Dr. Fauci is defined as providing misinformation. Like, since when did fucking Dr. Fauci become Jesus and God and everything in between? Um, Let me see here. Do you think Bruce's beach thing sets a tone? I don't know what Bruce's beach thing is. I'm so sorry. But thank you, Philly C. Dove, for your donation. I appreciate that. Are those individuals who you have at your conference, are they certified? Yeah, they're certified by us. They're certified by us to be able to train the Black community. One of the things that's really interesting, this was an interesting thing I ran into when we created the Black Business School, is there would be people who would ask us, like, are you certified? Are you certified? And I'd be like, certified by who? Like who's qualified to certify us to teach Black wealth? Are you talking about certified by the white universities that only teach Black people to go and work for white people that have ruined Black wealth by putting people in so much debt that they can't get out? Is that who we need to get certification for? So one thing I learned is I learned not to pursue validation from inferior, unqualified people. The reality, the thing that we know is that the white universities have not been successful at reducing the racial wealth gap. They haven't. They've only been successful at putting Black people in so much debt that they can't repay it. The average Black college the average Black college graduate defaults on their student loans. I think half of them do. Half of all Black college graduates default on their student loans. So why would we want to be certified by people who have proven that they are incapable of solving the problem that we're trying to solve? It's like if I'm trying to learn how to play basketball, why would I want to learn how to play basketball from somebody who's never won a basketball game before? Right? So basically, we don't seek out certification. We give certification, and I do have a PhD. Yes, I do. And we evaluate as a team. We evaluate whether or not this person is going to help us solve the problem. We don't care if you've been on TV or if you have a big radio show or if you have a big brand on social media. We really look for people that know how to solve the damn problem. And if they can't solve the problem, then we don't want them there. Like they can come and learn, but we don't want them there just because you're famous. Because famous people are the ones who kind of messed you up in the first place. Like they're the ones who have misguided you and distracted you for so long anyway. Like you run around listening to these rappers that can't even spell their mama's name, and you're looking at them as black leaders. Well, if your leaders are the people who can't even spell and read and write and think for themselves, then of course that's what's going to happen to you. Like, why would you think that you're going to be, that you're going to be any better than that, right? So I want the leaders, the leaders in the community, in my view, are the people who have solved the important problems in the community. The leaders to me are the likes of Dr. Claude Anderson, people like Dr. Julianne Malveaux, who has a PhD in economics from MIT, Herb Strather, who's done $2 billion worth of commercial real estate deals, who's in the Black Business School, Julian Gordon, who is working with a group of Black investors to literally buy up a big section of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. People that like attorney Nicole Compton, who has a law degree and is an expert in starting businesses and getting people off the corporate plantation. So people like that are the ones that I like. Queen Afua, who is an expert in having a healthy immune system and putting your body in a position where you're going to be able to fight off viruses and infections in a more effective way. And the list goes on and on and on, right? I don't, and I really think overall, like that's what we have to do. We have to have in mathematics, they actually call this backward induction. Backward induction is where you start at the finish line and then you work your way back, right? You don't just start running in any random direction. You say, where am I trying to get to? And then you take one step back and then another step back and another step back. And that leads you all the way back to where you are right now. So backward induction is actually how Jeff Bezos thinks. Jeff Bezos, I'd love to talk to Jeff Bezos. He's on my list of white people that I'd actually love to have a conversation with because I read his biography and I said, my God, this guy thinks a lot like I do, And and one thing about Bezos was he talked about, in life having what he called a regret minimization strategy. So he thinks like a mathematician, like a computer scientist, and that's why he was able to go out and make $100 million a day. It wasn't because he just got lucky. It's because he has a certain way of processing things like technology and scaling and all that stuff, right? So basically, I think Black people could benefit from kind of taking an approach that's similar, where we have our really good problem solvers, and we should be talking to those people about how to solve problems. Like, so what are some of the problems? And these are some of the things we're addressing at the All Black National Convention, which is why I really hope you guys will come to the convention in Orlando. It's going to be really fun. But we're like, okay, Black people want to be independent and free. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means being free, and starting economically, right? So we've got tons of specialists on deck that can help you get your business going, and ways to form economic think tanks where you can get together with other people and figure out how to monetize your way off the corporate plantation. Okay, check. What does independent also mean? Maybe it means having assets like real estate, stocks, and all that. So we got that covered. Y'all know that. What else does it mean? Well, it goes deeper than that, right? It might mean actually owning land. So we have people that are experts at buying real estate. It might mean growing your own food. We have people that are going to train people at the convention how to grow their own food. It might mean, protecting your children and your family from from some of the distractions that exist in social media and beyond, right? So we've got people there. We got educators that can talk to you about how to educate your own kids. It might mean, having healthy relationships so that you can form a strong family unit, because the family unit is the primary protector of little girls, so they're not getting molested. It's a protector of little boys. It keeps them out of the street. Having a daddy in the house is the number one variable that will keep a little boy out the street, because they don't listen to their mama when they get about 14, 15 years old, right? So we have an expert, John Boyd, who is going to literally do an entire training on how to get your whole family on the same damn page, how you can keep those children in line, protect them from the world, and grow them into the kinds of effective human beings that are going to be beneficial to the family unit, right? So these are the things that I think our people need to learn. Like, you got to learn, like our boys need to learn how to be good husbands and fathers. Our girls got to learn how to be daughters and wives and mothers. Our people have to learn how to protect each other, how to support each other, how to have healthy relationships. Like these are the things that are never taught in anybody's school, because they're teaching you like, why Billy might have two daddies, or whatever, and Tommy might have two mommies, or they're teaching you like why Abraham Lincoln was like the greatest human being ever because he freed black people because he loved y'all so much, right? Or they teach you, or they spend all their time teaching you why Edgar Allan Poe was the literary genius when there's like 1,000 black writers who were 10 times better, but you never learn about them because they got you sitting around reading books written by white men who probably wouldn't even want to sit and have a talk with you, wouldn't even want to hang out with you anyway, right? So I personally think that really, when you're talking about this white supremacy thing, when you talk about systematic racism, you can't understand systematic racism if you don't understand systems. You can't understand systematic racism if you don't understand the way America is built as an industrialized beast where they mass produced racism. See, you throw out your fights, piecemeal. Like you have one super Negro that becomes like a so-called black leader, and you put all your faith in one guy, and then they kill him, and then the whole movement dies, right? White people think in a different space. Like they tend to mass produce and manufacture and industrialize things that they want to see happen in the world. That's why they were able to win World War II. The reason they were able to win World War II was because they just were able to make millions and millions of bullets and guns and planes and ships and jeeps and all kinds of weapons. Like they didn't have better weapons than the Germans. They just had more because they mass produced it. They did it on a systematic level. They were industrial with their shit. So black people, in order to win, you got to think at an industrial capacity. You must mass produce what you want. So when I'm visualizing the future of the black community, what I'm visualizing is like 10 million black children who are all trained at a very high level on everything they need to know in order to be successful human beings in this world. Everything on economics, of course, it starts there. Everything on family, on culture, on everything that they need to know in order to be successful, the development of media, all of that. You got to have that sort of thinking because we don't have that. We don't understand. I'm gonna say we, not all of us, but some of us don't understand things like scale. You must scale it. If you can't scale it, then it won't matter. You just work yourself into the ground. You just work yourself to death. My wife is coming downstairs. Hey, baby.
Oh, you gotta
No,
announce me?
I'm talking to my friends on on my on my phone. Is it
Oh,
time for bed?
well, I just came down to say that I am going to bed.
You're going to bed? Okay.
But
Well, you know
what are
what?
we doing? What are we up to? Well, I mean, like, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm just talking. I was explaining the mass how in order to fight white supremacy, we have to understand systems. To fight a
Mm-hmm.
system, you can't fight a system with a person. You fight a system with a system. So the question is, where are our systems? The only systems that we tend to be affected by, the main ones that I think about that come to mind is like, think about like Pee Wee football, Pee Wee League football. How many of y'all live in the city where if your son is like big for his age, somebody somewhere in the grocery store is going to stop you and say, "Is your son coming out for football?" Am I right? Am I right? How many times does that happen with Quincy? Yeah, our
Mm-hmm.
son is 6'6", probably 6'7" now, and every time he go anywhere, people would say, "Are you gonna play basketball?" Right? That's because there's a system. There's a whole system to mass produce black
And
men.
you know what's so funny is like
What?
when we were just like, well, nah, he don't really play basketball. The reaction is like, oh, you gonna let all that go to waste?
Yeah, yeah. Like
Like,
they would really like when they would ask him if he was gonna play basketball and he said no, they would be sad like a
what?
funeral. Like, oh my God,
No,
that's such a waste.
they looked at me like, dang, mama, you ain't put him up. You ain't signed him up for AU.
Yeah, and
They
that
like, I
that's
neglected him.
and that's the funny thing, right? Like we don't see the waste when you have literally 100,000 black children graduating from high school every year who can't read. Like we don't see the waste when you see somebody who wants to be a thug when really he could have been a scientist, right? We don't see the waste when that happens, but we see the waste when a guy who's tall doesn't play basketball. We're like, oh, what a waste! Oh my God, he could have been so good. And that's because they got your sometimes they get your value systems all fucked up. Like
Who get wait? Who gets what values? Who are we
the
talking about?
people that shape your values, I think it's some of it starts in the family, but family is heavily influenced by things like media. And I
Well,
think that when we're looking around and we're seeing black men, with lots of money who are all playing sports, A lot of black boys are led to believe that they're supposed to be athletes. Now they can't hear you, by the way, babe. So that
Oh, okay. So they can't hear me. I'm gonna go to bed then. So
you going upstairs? Okay, I'm gonna come upstairs
I'm
with you.
gonna
I'm
go
gonna come
to
upstairs with you.
bed.
Yeah, I've been sitting here doing this for a long time.
How you gonna
Yeah.
go? Well, I'm gonna at least take a shot because you don't have to watch the day away.
Okay, babe. I'll
Okay.
see you in a little bit.
All right
All
then.
right, give me about 20 minutes.
Well, you got
Yep, 20 minutes. You do you one more time? You want 30?
no 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes. I'll see you in 15. All right. I'm yeah, I'm in I'm theoretically supposed to be in a podcast, but then again, it's my platform, so I do what the fuck I want. All right, so what I'm gonna do is answer some more of your questions. I'm sorry we got into this whole little conversation. My only goal I have now is to see to it that my son gets what he needs to make in life, trying to get to Florida for the conference this month, says Ronnie Smith. Well, good for you, man. You know, your son will really appreciate the sacrifice you're making for him, and I encourage you to be really proud of that, and to really understand like that you won't regret it. I'm a big believer in planting seeds, and I think that a lot of times we don't have people that encourage us to do that. They don't understand that um, we're here because somebody planted a seed. Like we're able to do what we do because somebody made a sacrifice. Somebody maybe in the 1980s or something, made a sacrifice for us, and we kind of, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like you can't live in the here and now. Like the people that tend to have power, I've noticed, are people that know how to plan. Like you got to plan to have power. Like you don't get power by accident. If you don't plan, then you won't have power. Power is always in the planning. So the question is, what is your plan? Like, what is your plan for yourself, and what is your plan for your kids? What is your plan for today, and what is your plan for the future? And if you have no plan, then guess what? The white man got a plan for you. He's gonna make a plan. His plan's gonna be, putting your ass in the sling and taking everything you got, including your own family, And so ultimately, I would encourage you to get a plan, have a plan, so that way um, you're able to decide what your future is gonna look like instead of other people deciding that. So yeah. So anyway, the blackbosschannel.com, by the way, that's our platform for men. We have a channel where it's nothing but black men speaking on the channel, like Jeff Lightsey Jr. and stuff like that. And we talk about a lot of black male issues and stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, I hope you'll subscribe and support the platform. And so anyway, guys, I'm gonna go and get out of here. I was kind of shooting the shit. I'm gonna answer a couple more questions. Let me see here. No, they let him go to Africa because I know oh shit. Sorry. Okay. I would bet money on the answer being hell no. Hell no to what? Time is our most precious resource. Yes, it is in this realm, and personally, I find it insulting. Um, I agree. I agree. I don't know what you find insulting exactly, but okay, I support that point. Let me see. What do you think about a 457 plan, retirement plan? Um, 457. Um, I mean, which category? I don't know which category that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the specifics of that particular one. I mean, I know 401ks and IRAs and AO3Bs and stuff like that. 457 retirement plan. Um, the educational plans. Yeah, I'd have to look up the details on that one. Let me see here. Tony O has white and Africans for the most part literally see them as God because of the Jesus symbolism. Why can we be ones open our own Facebook and call it Black Book? Well, we do actually have a social media platform called Black Enough, and it's got like maybe 60,000 people on it, so it's not massive, but you can actually go on there and I'll try to put it on the screen. You can actually go on there and look up other Black people that are in your area. There's a URL if you want to go to Black Enough. So feel free to do that. All right, let me see here. Can you talk about the current single family home market? It's crazy. We were in Atlanta looking for a townhouse this weekend, and it's almost like you have to rush to like make an offer, And we found a place that we liked in the West Village, and we liked it a lot, and we were ready to buy it. But it's like buying a home is such a pain in the ass right now because lenders just, I guess because they tend to overcorrect. Because I guess back in the early 2000s, they were giving everybody a damn loan without even checking people's credit, whether they had jobs or nothing. People get a bank loan for their dog, and the dog could buy a house, and it was just a stupid market. So then what they did was they overcorrected, where now it got to the point where, where you have to damn near be Jesus to get a bank loan, and the weird thing that gets on my nerves is that for business owners it's like really tough. Like if you're a regular W-2 employee who doesn't make that much money, then they're more likely to give you a loan than if you're like a business owner who's making 10 times that amount. So it just becomes this complicated process where they're literally going up your ass with an anal probe. And every time I buy property, it really kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. But and then buying property in the hot market is just not that much fun for me. But I wanted to do it because I wanted to go ahead and make this move. We're actually going to start making movies and stuff in Atlanta, because I believe Atlanta has the most talent in the country. Like I think the people in Atlanta are, that's where the future is. I believe that's like a Black Hollywood. And also my daughter's an actress. She's 11 years old, and I want to, be a good dad and put her in a position to be successful. So that's one of the things that really attracted me to Atlanta. And there's just good people to do business with. I just have like good friends there that I love to death, and I just feel like Atlanta's just, I don't know. I feel like when the Black Hollywood emerges, it's going to be in Atlanta, but it's not going to be like, Tyler Perry wearing a goddamn dress. Like Tyler Perry, sure, he got a head start because he cheated. He cheated because he put on a dress, and white people love a black man that puts on a dress. But I believe that, that the next Black Hollywood is going to come from black people that are actually in our community. I think that you're going to start seeing these multi-million dollar projects that are going to come out of the black community, that are going to be completely financed by the black community. Like I really admire what Tariq Nasheed has done with Hidden Colors and his whole joint, because I feel like that's what I'm looking for. Like that's what we need. Like we need stuff that's independent, that's owned by us, where we're deciding what the narratives are going to be, and instead of like begging Hollywood for opportunities, when Hollywood has never shown any respect for black people at all. So there we go. Let's see here. What they are talking about, which includes you two, sir, within this kingdom. So financial matters is your arena. You seem to not know proper protocol. Okay. Dr. Boyce, Glizzy reveal. Don't know what that means, but okay. Let me see here. First Sergeant Dolby to actually vet anyone who claims to do crypto. Yeah, true. What are your thoughts on Brother Omar Johnson and his school even collecting money for? Yeah, we talked about Umar. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but yeah, I would be stunned if that school ever came into existence. And I find it real fascinating that there are people who still believe the school's coming, because we've been waiting on school for like a decade now. I think it's going to be. We got somebody got to look that up. Maybe Leonard Honor, is that his name? Leonard Honor. Maybe he knows like the exact anniversary of the first date where Umar started talking about building the school. I would be really curious to know, like when that whole thing began. And I gave some money to the school, but it wasn't much. It was like $25. So I ain't gonna lie. I gave $3,000 to King Randall, because I believe in King Randall in terms of his ability to execute. He has a lot of discipline for his age. He's only 21 years old. I just think this dude is freaking fucking superstar. And I gave some money to the Sonetta Awards. Sonetta, created an award show, and I supported that, a little bit. It was a few $100. And also, what was another? Oh, the other school that I was very happy to make a donation to was Freedom Home Academy International in Chicago, which has, in my view, done just an extraordinary job of educating Black children. And I just love it. I love anybody that's able to just kind of, do what Mary McLeod Bethune did, which was basically saying, look, I don't need white people's permission to educate my kids. I don't even need their money. I don't need their guidance. I don't need anything. Just give me a book and a building, and I can get it done. And that's what she did. She took a couple books and a building, and probably did a better job of educating Black children than all these fancy fucking schools out here today. You know, So that's all you need, man. Stop thinking that you need other people's approval. Stop thinking that you need $10 trillion. Stop thinking that you need all this stuff that you don't have. Start where you at, man. Life is short. You gotta make your move now. Like, because if you don't, your time's gonna run out. By the way, the Dr. Boyce Breakdown is the audio version of my podcast. So if I know a lot of brothers are and sisters too are truck drivers and stuff. So if you're and even if you're not a truck driver, if you just want something where you can listen on audio, you can actually look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. It is on Spotify and Apple and stuff like that. Pretty much anywhere that you'll find a podcast. So feel free to check that out. Let me see here. Black as a crayon color. We need to ditch that term. Yeah, that's not a bad point. Conscious living. It's Tonio. It's sad people don't see this ish. Don't understand how badly we need to come together. I agree. Um, Mansanato says, I really appreciate what you're doing, bro. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate those kind words. I don't do everything perfect. Sometimes I probably say stuff that gets me in trouble, but all I know how to do is to be honest with you and just say what's on my mind. So I hope that's okay. Let me see here. Hey Philly C Dub, I don't know anything about the Bruce's Beach situation. I have to Google that. Let me see here. Um, Colorado Ricks is. Oh, you already talked about the home market. Okay. What's your take on an S corporation? Says Progress Pat. I think S corporations are a little more complex than the LLC, but there are some benefits tax wise, stuff like that. So it is something something to look into. Let me see. Have you seen the Pocket Watchers episode on you? Says D Charles. No, I have not. Main event. What's your thoughts on brother? Oh, you're at more. Okay. Darnell, how should a beginner start with when trading forex? There are forex programs. Actually, in the Black Business School, we're about to launch a forex program very soon. So if you want to, wait out for that, make sure you get on the email list at boycewatkins.com. You can get a free copy of my book also, and it also help us stay connected in case social media acts up and they take me down or something or whatever. So feel free to sign up and you can actually I'll let you know when the forex program begins. It's going to begin soon in the next few weeks, and we're going to do a master lecture soon, followed by a master class. So yeah, forex is definitely on the agenda for the Black Business School. Let's see here. Marriage is not God's ultimate plan for us, but to have us to Himself sounds selfish, but it's true. However, we should if one desires courtship. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit there and say I grew up like looking forward to being married. There's benefits to being single. Being single can be fun. I was happy to get married because I know I'm not gonna be young forever. Right? And that's the thing that I think sometimes we forget as men. Like I've seen men who were young one day and then they were old the next day. And when you get old, like you don't want to be in a position where you ain't got nobody that gives a shit about your ass, and because you don't hung out with a string of hoes your whole life. So I get it. I get it. I get what people enjoy about being single. I mean, I was single a very long time, but I was very clear in my head, like I wasn't going to be single forever. And I think, like I'll give you an example, and I'll share this, and then I'm gonna bounce out. But there's a lady who's a really famous author. If I said her name, you'd probably know her. She's very well known. And I had a friend who was very close to her, and they got to talking a lot or whatever. And she had written all these books, and she was a heavy feminist. She was a real hardcore feminist. And my friend was, she admired her, but she was like, I'm not as feminist as she is, right? And so this lady, this famous author, she got sick and she went to the doctor, and she said, when I was at the doctor, I had nobody to pick me up, and it made her feel like really alone. She said, despite the fact that I've made millions of dollars, I've been all around the world, I have all this fame, I had nobody I could call to come pick me up at the hospital. And so one thing I will tell you that I do enjoy is I like the fact that, when I went and got dental surgery and they had to put me under, and I was literally, like my blood pressure spiked. Something went wrong. Like I could have easily died when I went under. They were worried. Like they really thought I might die that day. And I'm not scared of death. Death does not scare me. But it made me feel good to know that the whole time when I was like teetering, like, like going under and had no control over my life, that there was this person in this realm who was looking out for me, who really cared, and that's a good feeling, you know what I mean? So again, I'm not out here preaching marriage and stuff. I personally think that I think in America there's some concerns about marriage and the way it's done. That's why the divorce rate's so high and all that. I don't think people do it right. I think it's hard now because gender roles are all confused and people are all over the place. Men and women are acting a complete ass. Like the women don't care nothing about being a woman. They think that being nice to a man is submitting. They don't want to submit, and it's just everything's like having a chip on your shoulder, and I hate that. And then also the men. Some of the men are just raggedy as fuck. I mean, my God, like I feel sorry for some of my female friends, and they tell me about some of the street trash that's out here that's still expecting to have access to a woman's vagina. I don't know nothing about that life because when I grew up, you had to earn the right to get access to a quality woman's body. I mean, maybe a hoe or a hooker, like if you got $50, you can have that. But when it came to getting, like quality time sexually with a quality woman, you had to come with a quality disposition. You had to come with something that, made you worth being around. You had to meet a standard. That's my point. And I feel sad because I feel like there are so many men who have no interest in meeting anybody's standard for anything. And maybe they don't have to because maybe the women have lost their standards. Maybe the women are like, maybe some of the women are just desperate and they're just willing to take whatever the dog drags in. And I just personally think it's kind of sad. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't sit here and legislate how anybody should approach their relationships. I can say that that was part of the reason why at the convention we're going to do speed dating this year. That's going to be one of the activities. We're going to do that on Friday night after the backyard barbecue. We're going to do a speed dating and speed networking. We're also going to have performances from people like Jay Ortiz, and I think D1 will be there that night. So we're going to do all that and have a lot of fun and eat some good food. And that'll be the Friday night activity. So we incorporated speed dating because we heard from a lot of you who feel like you can't matchmake in a crazy world. Like some of you are really trying to do better and you're trying to elevate yourself, but you keep meeting all these creepy, ridiculous people, men and women, that just can't meet the standard. And I'm not just talking about the men, Val. I'm not blaming the men. I'm talking about I'm talking about people, period. And it's not really blaming anybody, but something happened. Something happened with our community where the standards dropped. I know a lot of good men who are solid, who have everything together, and some of the women they meet are just. I mean, I wouldn't date them with a 50-foot pole. Like seriously, the attitudes. Can't tell them nothing. Don't want to show no respect to a man. Don't want to don't want to do anything that your mama might have done for your father to show that she loved him because somehow they were never trained on how to even talk to a man, how to deal with a man, how to show respect to a man. And then I see a lot of women who feel like the men are just not. I mean, think about this. I can't imagine how traumatic it must be where so many men just disappoint you. Like you depend on them, you lean on them, you expect them to come through. Your dad did, and they just don't. Like and it's not either. Some of them were just raised to be weak. Some of them never had a man to say like, "Hey, you don't do that, son. You don't. No, no. When people depend on you, you come through for the people that depend on you." I had to have my father tell me that. If I did not know that, I would not know that. You understand? So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Will you ever do a video on Republican policies that negatively affect Black people? No, I will not, because Republicans are not the ones who are getting all the Black votes. So about the Republicans already don't get any Black votes. The Democrats get all the Black votes. So because the Democrats get all the Black votes, they're the ones who owe Black. Because they owe Black people, they're the ones who I'm going to expect to deliver. People that you vote for are supposed to do things for you. People who take your vote and give you nothing are stealing from you. So the Democrats have been the biggest thieves. The Republicans are not good people, but that's why we don't vote for them, right? So if we were voting for Republicans, I'd be talking about them. So that's it's like if you talk about spending money, if you go to a store and you give them $100 for a product and they don't give you your product, and then you go and you say, I gave you $100. You owe me a product. They're not going to be like, well, why don't you ask that other store that you didn't give any money to give you a product? Well, that's you would say, no, I gave you the money, so you owe me, right? So whoever you give the money to is who owes you. That's some basic shit. Like so it drives me crazy when people are like, well, why don't you say the same thing about the Republicans? Well, because the Republicans don't owe you nothing. You didn't vote for them. You didn't support them in the election. So they're gonna take care of the people who gave them their vote. So that's my belief. That's my 2 cents. Would you feel comfortable asking Jeff Bezos for money? No, not really. I probably wouldn't. No, I mean, I guess I cross that bridge when I come to it, but the answer is probably no. But anyway, guys, I'm out of here. BoyceWatkins.com so you can get a free copy of my book. If you want to go get a copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. Also, if you want one of the B1 shirts, we just released those. You can go to WokeBlackTees.com. We took time to get the design just right. So we got men and women's sizes. So feel free to go take a look. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Love you. And hit the thumbs up button on your way out. I'm going to talk to you guys later. Peace.